As Nigeria welcomes its new Independent National Electoral Commission INEC chairman, Professor Josh Amokwittan, the nation holds its breath in anticipation of transformative leadership. With a history of contested elections and encoded public trust, the stakes are high for the new chairman to restore credibility and ensure the integrity of future polls. And, on the program today, we will explore the pressing challenges and expectations facing Professor Amokwittan, including electoral reforms, voter education, and the role of technology in enhancing transparency. We'll dive into the crucial agenda that will define his tenure and shape the future of Nigeria's democracy, prioritizing transparency, accountability, and inclusivity. Thanks for joining us on Nigeria Today. I'm Ikaria Clinton. With me in the studio to have a conversation around the agenda for the new INEC chairman is Dr. Dikpo Olayoku. He's the IPAC Deputy National Chairman. It's a pleasure to have you on Nigeria Today.
Thank you. Good evening. Nigerians, good evening.
Also with us via Zoom is Jide Ojo. He's a public affairs analyst. It's a pleasure to have you on Nigeria Today, Jide.
It's my pleasure, Kyria. Good evening. Good evening to Dr. Olayoku in the studio.
Well done, sir.
Now let's go right into this, the conversation. I'll start with you, Dr. Olayoku. Tell us, I don't know if you have anything to say about this new chairman of INEC.
Well, at least as we are Nigerians, and then we are politicians too, Professor Amokwittan is going to be interacting with us. I think we can say on behalf of the political parties in Nigeria, we welcome him on board. Because barring any unforeseen circumstances, he is the new INEC chairman. Because the president has nominated him, the Council of State has given their nod, and according to the Constitution, it must be sent to the National Assembly, especially the Senate, and the Senate concluded their process today. The next thing is to send it back to the president, who will now arrange for his swearing in. So we can say comfortably and conveniently that Professor Josh Amokwittan is the next INEC chairman. We look at his antecedents. I don't think there's any reason to doubt that he is more than capable for that role, especially considering to us as political parties the big shoes that has been left behind by the immediate past INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who in his 10 years introduced a lot of innovations, and especially in the area of technology, into our electoral processes. Yes, that doesn't mean there are no issues, there are no hitches, but I think when we are going to chronicle the activities of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and their history would definitely be very fair to him and very good inside. So I think Professor Amokwittan is coming in to come and continue the legacy, and then so that the Nigeria electoral process can move to the next level.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Olayoku. Jide, of course, Dr. Olayoku has mentioned that the new INEC chairman will continue in to sustain the legacy of the former INEC chairman. So, from your own perspective, give us your perspective. What do you think should be the new INEC chairman's priority right now?
Okay, thank you, Kyria. Yesterday, I was privileged to be at the INEC Civil Society quarterly meeting, the top for the year 2025. And I asked the acting chairman, Mrs. May Agbamche Ubu, where the commission is with the 142 recommendations that it's distilled from the over 500-page report on 2023 general elections. And the answer was that maybe by the next meeting, they will have cataloged what has been done and what remains undone. So Professor Amukito has his work cut out for him. Incidentally, I also weigh in on certain agenda for him in my column in the Punch newspaper of yesterday, where I charged him that beyond his academic brilliance, his non-partisanship and attestation as someone of as a man of integrity, he would need mother luck to be able to ward off pressures from politicians, particularly the ruling party. The former INEC chairman said INEC is a burial ground of reputation. And for a good reason, he knew what he was saying. Because INEC is under the presidency. And some political heavyweights will definitely reach out to him for one favor or the other. And his ability to stand firm and to be ready to resign if he's put under any undue pressure would be what will be his staying factor. Because a tree does not make a forest, Lucaria. Professor Amukito is not going to be a sole administrator like Ibas in Rivers State, who was a sole administrator for 6 months. He's not going to be sole administrator. He's going to be working with 12 national commissioners. And these 13 people will be the one to set policy directives for the commission. And on a wider note, aside from the 13 members of the commission, there are also 37 resident electoral commissions that he will need to work with, because these are the field marshals. These are the actual people who get to conduct elections. Yesterday at INEC, we had the privilege of meeting and interacting with the resident electoral commissioner for Anambra State, and to ask few questions about preparations and how we can collaborate to make that election a success. So my charge to Professor Amukito will be to look at the ongoing reforms within the commission. His predecessor, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has left him a handover note with a bouquet of laundry list of things that he needs to do. The commission itself has, like I told you, about 142 recommendations, some that impact that we need legislative reforms, and National Assembly is running with that. But there are a lot of administrative reforms that also need to take place. Maybe if time permits, we'll go into some of them in the course of this discussion.
Thank you very much, Jide. Now back to you, Dr. Olayoko. Of course, Jide has highlighted a tree cannot make a forest, like he said. He has to work with, 12, national officers, 37 resident electoral commissioners. Of course, this definitely must be taken into cognizance because if you're just looking at the chairman alone, we will be, missing it now. Now, he also mentioned something about some politicians trying to reach out to him. Now, this, of course, will call for a little bit of concern. So what steps should he take to ensure that he is protects himself from political influence?
Yes, he needs quite a lot of that. One, he needs to be a man of himself. And thank God he has a very rich history of accomplishments as somebody that just came from the academics. So it's not that he's just coming from nowhere. So first of all, he needs to look at how do I protect this rich history that I have made for myself. Then two, I think Nigeria, whatever the issues we might have with INEC in the past, this is the time for Nigerians, individually and collectively, to take hold of the process. Because we shouldn't forget that this man is not a superman. He's a man. He's a human being. So if he looks at his back and he doesn't see Nigerians behind him, it might be difficult for him as an individual to withstand the pressure that would definitely come from so many quarters. That is why whatever the ill feelings we as Nigerians might have about INEC in the past, this is the time for Nigerians to get involved in the activities at INEC. Because Dr. Jide has just given us, we have the national commissioners and you have the resident electoral commissioners in the states. And even when elections are have taken place, there are so many hardcore staff that are hired that nobody knows where they are coming from. But whenever there is any small or little hitch somewhere, everybody points at the national chairman. That is why the Nigerian, as individuals and Nigerians collectively, should take hold of this process. Because whether we like it or not, unfortunately, maybe by, let us just by omission, those who drafted the 1999 Constitution as amended, yes, wanted an independent INEC, independent National Electoral Commission. But unfortunately, if you look at the Constitution, the INEC as a body is tied to the apron string of the executive. So where lies the independence of the National Electoral Commission? So I think as we are in the process of amending the Constitution, this should be at the forefront of our agitations. That if actually we need an INEC that is independent, where the chairman of the INEC will be insulated from undue influence by politicians, especially the politicians in government. I think there's a need for us to be very serious about these ongoing electoral reforms and then the constitutional amendments that are ongoing. Somebody was asking the question, if you say INEC is independent, how come that every little expenditure that INEC wants to make, they quickly run to the executive? And it's a common knowledge that who pays the piper dictates the tune. So I think as we are amending Constitution, as we are amending the electoral reforms, electoral acts, those are the things we need to put in there so that by the time we get into 2027, the INEC under Professor Amopitan will be really independent. And then Nigerians should, like I said, cast aside the ill feelings they have at INEC. Let us be involved in the activity on INEC so that when INEC chairman and his commissioners look behind, they will see Nigerians behind them. Because let me tell you one thing, this man alone, the INEC national commissioners, electoral commissioners on their own might not be able to withstand the pressure coming from politicians. I think that is very, very key in whatever you are doing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dipo Olayiku. We are going to take a short break now. This conversation will continue shortly. Don't go away.
The implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow under digital economy for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different? We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that are questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today.
Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today. We're looking at the agenda for the new INEC chairman. And of course, I have two gentlemen, one via Zoom and one here in the studio. Now, Jide, we have talked so much about, you know, the independence of the INEC, of INEC. Now, Dr. Olayiku has mentioned why it should be. But again, earlier you talked about some reforms that should be, you know, made as a matter of urgency. in terms of the administrative reforms. I'd want you to highlight some of these reforms that the new INEC chairman should have at the top of his list right now.
Okay, so for instance, there is still a very sticky issue with distribution of voters into the 176,000 plus polling units. You will see some polling units with as many as 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 voters. And there's another adjacent voting polling unit with just 50 voters. So there's this lopsidedness in the distribution of voters by INEC. That needs to be corrected ahead of 2027 general elections. There is the issue of recruitment, training, and deployment of ad hoc staff. Dr. Olayoku said earlier that the ad hoc staff in their millions. In fact, I have it on good authority that during the 2023 general elections, INEC recruited 1.4 million ad hoc staff to work with it to conduct the 7th general elections. Now, these 1.4 million people, nobody bothers about doing background checks. They are just recruited, trained, and deployed. And some of them we have seen end up doing actual job for politicians. Even in the recent by-election in Ogun State, in Iperuremo, some INEC staff, 2 of them, were caught in an hotel where they have gone to collect bribe money from a politician. So these are people that were expected to deliver election on the field. And so the Professor Amukwita, as a lawyer, will need to find a creative way to ensure that there is a kind of sanitization of the recruitment, training, and deployment of ad hoc staff, whether they are NYC members or they are from the academia like himself. In fact, incidentally, when I watched his screening today, he said in answering one of the questions that his wife has served as a coalition officer in one of the previous elections. So now he has the benefit of that. He has also worked on electoral reform as a consultant to the House of Reps from what he said. So as a lawyer now, he needs to see how we can sanitize that process of recruitment, training, and deployment of ad hoc staff. And when ad hoc staff or permanent staff of the commission, when anyone is apprehended for having compromised, to ensure that there is stiff punishment for such people. Then there is also the larger challenge of how do you get the Road Transport Union and the Boat Owners Association to respect the memorandum of understanding that they signed with INEC. Many a time, you have this election, INEC would have paid advance money or the full amount to this Road Transport Workers Union to bring their vehicles for the commuting of election materials and personnel. But on the day of election, some of them will disappear into thin air. Some of them will start telling you they don't have fuel in their vehicles. Some of them will renege on the promise. And they go scot-free, having embarrassed the commission. Now, INEC cannot go and buy full complement of operational vehicles that it needs to conduct elections. So it has to depend on this third-party arrangement. And some of the NURTW members we know have political affiliations.
So, Jide, I'll have to stop you here so that Dr. Dikpa Olayokwu would also come in and talk to us on some of the issues. Now, we are still talking about how to make the commission better, and of course, to enhance, have, our democracy, to strengthen our democracy. Now, in your opinion, of course, Jide has mentioned some of the administrative reforms that need to be done. Now, how can the new INEC leadership restore, public confidence in the commission ahead of the 2027 general election? Of course, Jide has read out some of the challenges that we've experienced in the past, and we want it to be better.
Yes, it's very, very key. If Professor Amokiton wants to succeed, especially with the 2027 elections. Unfortunately, the closest election now is the Anambra governorship election. I don't know how much of participation he will have, whether he will have been sworn in by the president before then, and if he is sworn in, that means going to have a very short time between his assuming office and having to perform his first assignment. But I think, that's what I said initially, he needs to be a man of himself. How do I mean? Definitely there will be temptations. There will be need for him to compromise, but it now behoves on him, especially with the background as a lawyer. Let me give you an example. During the last governorship election in Kogi State, it was an off-season election. Around 11:45, some of our guys in the field, because we also contested in that election, started sending to us completely filled result sheets for election that was supposed to end about 3 hours' time. Already they have filled the result. This thing got to the attention of INEC, and INEC on that day issued a statement that they were going to investigate that matter. But somehow by evening, INEC went ahead to announce the result from that area where election results have been written by 11 o'clock. Everybody knew that was below the belt. So I think issues like this, when they come up, the professor needs to stand his ground. INEC, if we look at the Constitution, INEC has, and even their guidelines, INEC has a lot of windows to correct anomalies even before election results are announced. Even after election results are announced, INEC has a 7 days window to say, oh, sorry, that announcement we made about 6 days ago, we made a mistake, but going by the factors, information available to us, we want to change the result. So definitely, if such a thing happens, because he needs to curry the favor of Nigerians. That's why I said the off-season elections that are coming before 2027, he needs to use that to win the confidence of Nigeria. Because if he needs it, if he wants to succeed, he cannot do it alone. National commissioners cannot do it alone. Resident Electoral Commission cannot do it alone. He needs the buy-in of Nigerians.
You're talking about not doing it alone. What is the role of the politicians now? Because they also have to help him to succeed.
Yes, because if the politicians know that this guy, if we go to him, will not play game, they won't go to him. The politicians, to some extent, will want to get to him. But if he says, no, I'm going to stand my ground, I'm not going to play game, they will not come to him. So he needs to, first of all, be a man of himself. So when there are instances like that, Nigeria will say, oh, definitely, this is
He's a man of his word.
Yeah, this is the true INEC chairman that we have been craving.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dikpa Olayokwu, IPAC Deputy National Chairman. Thank you so much for coming on the program. It's always a pleasure. And also, via Zoom, we had Jide Ujo, a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much, Jide, for coming on the program.
My pleasure, Keria. Enjoy the rest of the day.
And thank you for being part of the program. I'm Keria Clinton. Goodbye.